Welcome to week number 10. It's hard to believe, but it's already here. We're 2/3 of the way through the semester, and so it's time to set our sights on our next assignment sequence. So I realize that some of you are probably a little bit behind due to the windstorm of 2017, and that's okay. Just make sure that you're doing your part to get week nine's work in as soon as possible. But for those of you who are caught up, we're going to start working on preparing for our next assignment. So in addition to receiving feedback on your instructions assignment, which I'll have posted by Thursday, I want us to begin thinking about our safety fact sheet assignment. And so let me tell you a little bit of background about this assignment, where it comes from, and what I hope you'll get out of it. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to do some professional development instruction at Central Maine Power. And in that role, I got to work with some of their safety supervisors / coordinators. And one of the things that they regularly had to write and disseminate to their crew were these safety briefs. And they were these really brief, research-based documents that were about some safety or health-related topic. So I remember one of the ones that we worked on was about rotator cuff injuries, what they are, how to prevent them, what types of movements and activities in line working are usually the culprit. And so that would be the type of thing that a safety coordinator would hand out, maybe at a weekly meeting or something like that, and use it as a talking point memo sort of document. So that's what you're going to have to write. And so in doing that, there's a few things that I want you to really keep in mind. A fact sheet is sort of an emerging document or an emergent type of writing that we're seeing more and more, and it's really meant for rapid comprehension. It's the type of thing that you can hand to somebody and they can read and get the gist of very quickly. It's not an essay, it's not a research paper, it's not an encyclopedia entry. It is really something that can be read and retained really quickly. And so we'll take a look at some examples, and hopefully you'll get some ideas of what to do and what not to do, what seems to be successful, and what should be avoided at all costs. I can tell you that you have a lot of the skills in your quiver, so to speak, to do this. One of the foundational skills that you'll need in order to create not only an engaging but a useful document is CRAP. So we're going to use contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to think about how we allocate the space on the page, because this can only be one page, which is sort of the complicating factor. But ultimately what you're going to try to do is educate somebody about a health or safety related topic in your field. And so there's two things really that I want you to focus on while we're thinking about this assignment. First and foremost, I want you to think about prevention. Like I just said, this is not an encyclopedia entry. I don't care how good you are at reading WebMD or how good you are at Googling. This is really about what preventative measures can people take to prevent carpal tunnel, to prevent bloodborne pathogen illness, to prevent needle sticks, to prevent rotator cuff injuries in line working. And so you really have to have an eye toward prevention. Now that means certainly you're going to have some background information about the disease or the illness or the issue to build context and background, but the lion's share of this document should be about how to prevent it. Now, the second thing I want you to think about is being context specific. So one of the issues we have when we communicate health or safety related topics, and we see this with OSHA and other governing bodies, is that oftentimes they're putting everybody under a big tent. And I think that it's easy to ignore health and safety related information if it's not written directly to you. And so one of the things I'm going to challenge you to do and require you to do is to write this fact sheet in a very context specific way. So I don't want you just to write about carpal tunnel syndrome for people or carpal tunnel syndrome for workers. I want you to write it as carpal tunnel syndrome for electrical workers, or static shock for IT professionals, or rotator cuff injuries for line workers. And what that's going to do, it's going to force you to think really carefully about how to make this topic meaningful to that specific audience of people. And so what that's also going to mean is that when you go out to do your research, because I am going to hold you accountable, you're not just going to make this up, you're going to go out and find current, verifiable, valid, credible sources of information, and you're going to have to translate that information. It's really tempting to just copy and paste that information wholesale because, the Mayo Clinic knows this information really well. And certainly they do. It's a great source of information. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to translate that and to put that into terms and to frame that in a way that's going to be meaningful to people in your field, whether that's culinary, electrical, the allied health fields. And that's going to be really important to us, because I really truly believe that when we can apply it to a specific context and give people really tangible, meaningful ways to avoid these things or to overcome these things, then we're going to be able to captivate and engage our audience. So that's something that I want us to think about. So the Cliffs Notes version is this assignment's going to continue to push us on our document design skills, to make sure that we're creating documents that are not only easy to read but intuitive to read, that contain all of the right information and nothing extraneous, because we only have one page of space, 92.5 square inches. We're going to have to be really good at researching to find quality information, and you're going to watch some short videos, relatively short videos, about how to use Google more effectively so that you can find information that you can sort of use as the foundation for this fact sheet. But ultimately, that's what we're going to do, and I think this is an assignment that has a lot of transferability to the workplace, because as you probably know, if you've worked in any type of environment at all, ranging the full gamut, health and safety are cornerstone issues, and they really do take up a lot of time and energy in the workplace, and so I think it's only fair that we have an assignment that does some of that work. So I've already started to see some of the fact sheet stuff come in. Some folks have already picked topics and started to find sources, and that's great. Use the resources at your disposal, and ultimately let's try to create a really compelling and useful and ultimately easy to read document that does the good work of educating somebody about an important health or safety related topic in your field. And if we do that, we're going to be in good shape. If you need any help with your instructions and or the fact sheet, please let me know. I'm on campus every single day, and I'm very responsive by email, text, and phone call, so I don't want you to feel like you're lost out there in the Ethernet. I'm here to help, so thanks a lot.